Should be back. Let me know when you're back. I think I'm back here, but I don't know.
Molly Eliz _ says, you are back.
Now, I don't know what is going on, why this software... I'm going to disconnect everything tomorrow from Streamlabs and retry it. I don't know if it's causing a memory spike, or it's causing... I don't know if it's a Google issue. But yeah, so like it was saying, like it was a singular question, right? Like somebody would ask Molly, where does Molly see herself?
Molly Eliz _ says, and I see what you mean, but I think, especially in the last year, I started thinking more independently. I was making more decisions based on how it would impact me since he didn't consider me either.
Or no, and I think you've grown a lot in the last year too, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'd say over the course of the year, you're a slightly different person from what I remember. I mean, it's not in a negative way at all.
Molly Eliz _ says, I think the only thing for sure is I will probably buy my own place by 5 years. Molly Eliz _ says, I am more me now than I was before.
And do you feel better? Do you feel better about you? I guess is the question. See, this is kind of funny. I can ask you these questions because I know what the response is going to be, but I can't ask myself these questions. I can't answer those.
Molly Eliz _ says, yeah, I am very content.
It's weird. That therapist had me actually thinking about it. Yeah, my 1 hour session ended up 2 hours long. And it was rather eye-opening. It was like, huh, let me go back and think about this for a minute. And I don't know how to answer the question. It's the first time I've been in a loss in a long time. So that makes no sense. If I'm running at 51% memory, 20% CPU right now, I'm not running any power at all. Why is this thing keep crashing on me? So it's either got to be a software
says, I've been pretty sure of myself since I was a kid, so I feel like it is easy for me to be happy with myself. Molly Eliz _ says, so it really snapped right back after I left that relationship for good.
What snapped right back? You talking about the ability to be independent by yourself?
Molly Eliz _ says, self-confidence and just my personality in general.
Yeah. Got a lot of spunk in you that you do. And you're in a better headspace too. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're doing okay. You're doing well, so to speak. I don't know about doing well or doing okay. You're better than you would have been. I'm glad you're doing all right with it. Oh, almost didn't hit the button. No.
Molly Eliz _ says, I definitely need the Prozac still. When I skip it, I have some hard mornings sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's a different scenario, but yeah. But I mean, I'm glad you're doing, in your head, you're doing all right. There's always going to be moments of hardship.
Molly Eliz underscore says, I feel better than I have in almost a decade.
Man, you use a decade like you... Excuse me. You use the term decade like you've been around forever. Kiddo.
Molly Eliz underscore says, LMAO. Molly Eliz underscore says, I last felt normal in 2015 though.
Yeah, wow. I don't know when the last time I felt normal. I've got a whole lot of soul searching to do. I don't know. Like, I don't know anything. I have to get through this health thing first so I can figure out what's up and what's down.
Molly Eliz underscore says, it's really tough. I can't even say what clicked for me finally.
Well, one, you had a lot of support. You had a lot of good friends. And that helps immensely. You saved a lot of money on not going to the therapist. But that wasn't doing you any good. And that one I could have told you I told you so. Something not right there.
Molly Eliz underscore says, lol, yeah, I haven't been back to him since.
And there was all kinds of wrong with that one. Story you tell me about that, dude. There was something not right. I'd have done a better job being your therapist than that guy.
Molly Eliz underscore says, I don't really feel like I need a therapy at the moment, but maybe I'm not aware enough.
No, but you are aware. You just don't see it. See, you're in a position, okay, and this happens to a lot of people. Like, you're in this spot where you're finally free and clear of whatever weight is holding you, and now you have all this in front of you, and that's back to normal, right? This back here was not normal, right? So you're at this place where you're starting to step into, like, you know, I miss this about me. I miss this. You know, I loved this. I enjoy this. I'm finding new things I like. I'm finding things I dislike. You know, you're in that transition, like you said, that transition phase where it's like, you know, why wasn't I just being me? And why was I being this, right? Like, this is back there now. And so for you, it's a whole new vision of like, hey, this is what me is like. This is what I was used to be. This is what I was, you know. Everybody else can see it. All your friends notice it, you know, and that's coming back, and that's out over, and those endorphins are outweighing some of that negative crap, you know, and you're doing better for it, right? And it's just natural, right? Some of that's going to be natural. So some of the things like your body, you know, you don't have as much stress. You don't, you know, have all this worry. You're not always putting yourself down. You're not always whatever. You know, you start to get to see the positive things in life, you know, so you get all the good vibes, the good energy. You don't, you know, it totally changes the whole way, you know, the world works. And those are things that you're you know, you're starting to feel and become and enjoy again. You know, it just makes, and you look back and it's like, I don't want that negativity. I don't need all that garbage. You know, that's good that you're getting to that point, you know, and probably a lot quicker than most people would think. But, you know, you did have a good friend support network, you know, who came and took you out and did things, and, you know, you're back at your family where you're safe and you're comfortable. You're not, you know, you're not in that negative space on your own, kind of, you know, in that don't know what to do, where to go kind of thing, right? You had a lot of things work out in your favor, I'll say.
Molly Eliz underscore says, yes, the support I think is what did it, and because I stayed so long.
Because you stayed so long. Where? You know, and it was good for you too because you had places to vent. You had places to where you could just get out and just get things off your chest and just talk. So, you know, a lot of it too is it's kind of been building for you for a while. And you were able to talk about it and you weren't judged when talking about it. So you were able to work through a lot of it yourself. You know, but at the same time, it was kind of like you were being supported along the way. You know what I mean?
Molly Eliz _ says, I am proud of myself for that. He tried to cut me off from you and my other friends, family. So I'm proud that I stood my ground and wouldn't cut people off.
Well, and I'm glad you didn't cut me off because that was a good, when you think back on it, that was an actual good resource for you where you weren't getting judged, you know, for anything you did. Like I was the outside observer 100%, you know, like I have no, you know, it wasn't like a friend who knew you growing up in high school. It was a completely stranger outside, no strings attached, just you get to vent, talk, do whatever, you know, and that would have been, and that's what your therapist should have been. But that's not what was working there. So I'm kind of glad you didn't cut me off because
Molly Eliz _ says, right, it was so weird when he got mad over you.
Like, you see, and I don't even know that situation. So you could probably sit here and tell me I have no idea what you're referring to in general because I don't know that situation, right? Like, I don't know what, you got mad because you were watching a streamer? You know, I don't know the situation.
Molly Eliz _ says, he went through my Discord and saw that I said to you that I was going to force him to go to therapy.
Oh, so he got mad that you told somebody about his personal stuff.
Molly Eliz _ says, and he said it was disrespectful of me to say that to someone.
But not knowing who I was. Would it have been disrespectful of you to say it to your best friend?
Molly Eliz _ says, that particular time was after a fight. I said couples therapy or I would leave.
God, I got in the middle of your fight. Crap, man.
Molly Eliz _ says, so I don't think I was out of line at all.
I don't see how you were out of line in my head, but I'd have to really think about it. So he got mad. Okay, let me hold on. He went through your Discord. Well, that was a wrong in the first place. Like that's like going through your cell phone or your diary. That shouldn't happen.
Molly Eliz _ says, I think he just didn't like that I was telling people what he was doing to me.
Oh, probably. Oh, that's probably true. Do you, okay, let me ask you this. Can I ask you a couple questions? Looking back on all of it, do you...
Molly Eliz _ says, yes.
Oh, I wasn't even going to wait. I was going to do it anyway. Ah, that's funny. Looking back on all of it, do you see, like,
Molly
how...
Eliz _ says, lol.
Do you see how, like, how controlling of a person he was now when you look back on it? And not in a positive, you know, scenario there? I mean, do you see, like, the negative things now when you look back on it and say, like, oh, wow, I can't believe I missed or didn't see this before? Do you see things like that?
Molly Eliz _ says, yes, I don't actually see, like, any positives in him anymore.
Oh, you really did shift really quick. Usually that takes a while. But then you've also been wanting to get out of there. That party told you to get out of there a long time ago. It's been building up.
Molly
Yeah.
Eliz underscore says, I think the empathy glasses came off and I stopped making excuses for him.
Yeah. No, and I feel bad for him. Part of me feels bad for him because he's never gonna get better till he falls. You know, he's one of those people who has to fall really hard in order to.
Molly Eliz underscore says, cause I would always say, well, he almost died or he had these struggles, etc. Molly Eliz underscore says, but he does it to himself.
Yeah.
Molly Eliz underscore says, he already came back begging.
Yeah, but the question is, did he come back begging just because you were going on a trip? Is that a control mechanism? Because the timing of that.
Molly
was wrong.
Eliz underscore says, and I told him to stick his head in a microwave.
Okay. You all growed up.
Molly Eliz underscore says, ha ha ha, I was proud of that one, it was funny.
Well, it was fun. I think you all growed up. Totally in a different space. By golly, good job. Good job. God, I gotta go to the grocery store tomorrow morning. I gotta think about what I want. No idea. Oh, come on, man. You could have come 2 feet forward. It took me actually chase you anything. Or a can. That's interesting. Hold on a second. So let's look at that here again. So I changed the browser command for that parachute game to unhide it, so it should always be on my screen. I crashed and it's back to where it was prior to. So it's not saving my command changes. So something is wrong with this program because it's having conflicts with browser sources. I wonder if other people are having problems with the parachute, since the parachute game isn't working properly on their server end, if it's causing problems on everybody else's streaming software. Because I changed the URL and then it crashed, and now it's back to the default of what the URL was before it crashed. It should have memorized the change because it was. Should it have not? Because the software here, if I change a line of code, it should remember that line of code and not default back to one prior to that. Because I did that prior to a crash. Is that thought process wrong? So is it a problem with the URL browser source issue? Like it's trying to keep a browser source open.
Molly Eliz underscore says, I have no idea.
Like if you add a browser source and you put a URL in and that URL is broken and it keeps trying to get to that URL because it defaults to the one that works, but it shouldn't default back at all. Ah, see, this is where I loved going through code and finding mistakes and figuring out why mistakes don't work. I mean, I'd do that. I'd love that job. If somebody said, hey, here's 10,000 lines of code, go through it, find the mistakes, and fix it. Oh, I'm all for it. You know, that's like my perfect gig right there, and I can do that every day. Oh boy, I got a split second to actually pull this off. Ah, right in the middle of my freaking tomatoes. I can't cash it. Oh well, at least I popped it. That's pop balloon. Because it's going back to a line of code that it would have saved yesterday. If I change it today, it should memorize the change regardless of the crash. Because there shouldn't be a safe point. So why has the software got a safe point? This water tastes funny. Pure water, perfect taste in my butt, it tastes funny. Purified by reverse osmosis. So this is tap water, is that what you're telling me? Yeah, this is tap water, reverse osmosis. Yes. Gotta think about that one for a bit. It should be. I need to buy more water tomorrow, but it's not this company. Yeah, it's also interesting too because the therapist asked me about the streaming part of it, right? And why I stream and you know, things like that. So I got to talk about me a little bit, you know, some of the good things of what I like to do. But like I told her, ultimately, you know, it's like having a television show, that your audience is always changing. You never have the same people all the time. That's like, it's funny because if you look back to if you go back to the girls, right? The 4 of you, whatever, 3 of you in the last 6 months to a year. Or the last, no, we'll say 6 months, last 6 months. The 4 or 3 of you, whatever, have not been in the same place at the same time. You know, it's not like it was in the beginning, right? And it's interesting because it's like when you're talking to somebody like a therapist or whoever, and you try to explain how it works, well, your audience changes day to day. You know, you never have the same people or 2 people or whatever. And so what you do is different. Floor light. There's a floor light. I might have potential. If that makes any sense. You know.
Molly Eliz underscore says, that's true, I seem to stop by more when it's just me.
You can just stop by more when it's just you. No, I think it's timing, right? Like it's like one, Beans is in Vancouver. Yummy may or may not be around a lot because we had a issue with her in another stream, which she has apologized for, but it may be an issue. I don't know. Which I found funny, but at the same time could have been bad. And actually, you know, she's been busy with real life stuff. I haven't seen her in ages. And you, I don't see as often, but you know, you have life stuff too, right? So I mean, everybody's got something going on in their world that's different. So you don't have necessarily the same thing you were
Molly E. Liz
6 months ago.
I've just been keeping busy and trying to change up my routine. I feel safer messaging on my computer more now and not melt down.
Why would you melt down on your computer? Like, wait, what? You can.
Molly E. Liz _ says, just BC, it was all I used to do. I was C constantly on my computer before when I was in that relationship and I just needed a change. I needed to feel like the cycle was breaking.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I thought maybe it felt safe on your computer because you were getting harassed or something on your computer. But that stuff you can all block and clean. No, yeah, so I was thinking something else, but no. But yeah, no, but you know, it's like I said, like most of the people that I've known 6
Molly
months.
E. Liz _ says, yeah, I blocked him immediately.
Well, that's good because some people forget. But like, you know, like the people I would have known or you would have known 6 months ago, it's all different, right? It changes cyclically all the time. Come on, fishing Christ. What are you doing here, man? Wake up. And it was like I was explaining to her, you know, it changes so often. You don't know who's going to be there one day or another. It's like, you know, it's like, it is literally like a television show. One day you could have a room full of kids. One day you could have a room full of monkeys. One day you could have a room full of people. You know, you never know what's going to be there or who's going to be there or how you have to act because, you know, you tend to act differently around different people. And it's not in the sense that you're acting like putting on a phony persona. Some streamers do, obviously, but it's more like, you know, you're aware of other people's emotions and feelings, so you have to be.
Says, no, but they bring a different personality that you react to differently.
Yeah, you kind of have to be cognitive or aware of like, ooh, you know, so and so had this happen to them last week. I don't want to say certain things or. You know, I don't want to, like that, right? Like, it's not necessarily, you know, like, I don't bring up things, you know, if somebody tells me something about, you know, what happened here or there, you know, it's like, okay, so it's basically like, you take it with a grain of salt, and it's like, yeah, I heard that yesterday, that's gone tomorrow, you know. And it's interesting too because it's like it's always hard. I think the hardest thing for me lately is finding the direction I want to go. Right? Like I've been so brain fog or whatever you want to call it. Like I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm struggling half the time to figure out, well, what am I going to do today? Am I going to actually attempt to draw, or am I going to try doing this, or should I be printing that? You know, like people ask me all the time, well, what are you printing? And I'm like, well, I'm not printing anything, you know, because I haven't had time to do anything. I haven't thought about it, right? So, so there's that too. Like, part of me says, well, why print something if I don't have anything I want to print? I don't want to waste the resources printing just random, whatever. And I haven't put the things on for sale yet because it's like, I don't know if my brain says, if I all of a sudden get 50 orders, am I physically capable of fulfilling 50 orders, or do they sit for a year? You know what I mean? However, of course, if somebody said to me, or if you said to me, hey, I really want these two, I'd probably print them and mail them to you and then we'd sort it out later, kind of thing, But, like a lot of things I haven't done on my channel because I don't know where I'm going or where I'm going to be, kind of thing. If that makes sense. If that makes any sense. Froggy! Like, I've got all kinds of ideas of things I want to draw, but man, I can't sit here and draw.
Molly Eliz _ says, yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I've got all kinds of art things and things I want to do, and I just can't do it. I can't sit long enough and do it. That's like I was telling my friend today.
Master, we have a visitor.
Thank you for the follow. Why does that keep cutting off? Everything is cutting off. 2 seconds early. Or half a second early. The TTS did it. The thing did it. Hola. Como esta? But it's one of those... Crap. See, and right there I totally lost track of what we were talking about. Bring a different personality and I react differently. We're talking about art of some kind. Oh, I was talking to my friend today. And like I told her, like I get frustrated because like my house right now is a mess. I have basically 3 households worth of crap in my house because I had to get rid of my cottage, whatever. I have family, I've got too much stuff in my house. So like one of my goals this year, I want to get the garage cleaned out because it's stuffed. I want to get the garage cleaned out so I can put a vehicle in. So half the garage has to be cleaned so I can park a car in it. And so I was talking to her and I said, it's hard because I'm going to therapy and of course they give you resources, whatever. But what I really need is I need a friend to come over once a week and say, hey, today we're working on this. Let's go do this for 20 minutes. Or let's get up and do this. Like, I need, I need somebody to walk me through or to, kind of like, oh, hey, today was the day we were supposed to do this and kind of keep me on a task. Because I can't remember to be on that task. If that makes any sense. And so I was telling her, and I don't think she quite understood what I was telling her, but yeah, it's also the hardest part too when you don't have the resources of the friends here. Like if I had my friends here, crap man, my house would be immaculate. It'd be done tomorrow. I'd have everything, but they're all in they don't live near me, right? But if they lived close to me, I'd have 30 people over here and we'd have this place flipped over in an hour, But it's hard when you have to do it by yourself, especially when the other day I mowed the grass. I went out there and it took me 20-30 minutes to mow, small yard. Man, and I slept 6 hours after that. I was exhausted. Like I don't have the physical energy right now. It's terrible. That part sucks. It's getting warmer and I don't have the strength to do squat. Oh, part sucks. But every day I'm gonna do a little bit more and try to. And funny, it's kind of hard to find the motivation at times too when you're just tired and worn out all the time. I need an assistant, what I need. Or a nanny or a housekeeper or something. Who's like, oh yeah, I'll do that for you. But it's funny when somebody's, you know, not doing well or sick or whatever. You know, you need certain support things. You don't realize how bad you need certain things. It's crazy. Or how bad something can make a difference. Why is Marley 21?
Molly Eliz _ says, it does make a huge difference.
That's a huge difference. And even like I told my friend, sometimes just having somebody to talk to, just to run ideas off of, is a huge help. Guess that's why they have therapists, you know. But your friend should do it too. Most fish are not worth squat. I'm not even gonna hit 10,000. Are you kidding me? Come on, loads, be worth garbage. All garbage. Fishing is terrible. Yeah, it's like I told that lady. I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years because I've got to start life all over again from scratch and figure it out. I mean, it's basically start over from ground zero and figure it out. Not a swaddling. I don't know what that picture is. That's why I like joke. I was joking with somebody like this, like, I will take the sugar mama, whatever. You know, he just wants to take care of me or whatever. I'm okay with that. I figure out what's going on in my world. Jukebox. Wow.
Molly Eliz underscore says, let's just go to Disney and then San Diego.
Disney California or Disney Florida?
Molly Eliz underscore says, Disney Florida.
You can always go to Disney Florida. That's not too bad. It's only like a 4-hour flight. I like Disney.
Molly Eliz underscore says, Disney fixes everything.
No. Disney screwed up Star Wars. I don't know if they fixed everything. Disney screwed that up. You can blame that Kennedy woman all you want, and whatever her
Molly
name is.
Eliz underscore says, no.
What do you mean, no? They didn't screw up that series?
Molly Eliz underscore says, Disney is my love.
Well,
Molly Eliz underscore says, they do no wrong in my eyes.
okay. Kind of hard to argue that with blinders. But okay.
Molly Eliz underscore says, lol.
But I sure as hell will try. Don't worry about it. When I'm back to normal brain function. So here's a crazy question, since you brought up Disney. Is there a specific Disney cartoon that you relate to, that you will watch no matter what, and it always makes you feel better, happy, whatever? Is there one Disney film that does that for you?
Molly Eliz underscore says, I love Tangled.
Tangled. Okay.
Molly Eliz underscore says, the lantern scene is so pretty. Molly Eliz underscore says, and I also love Moana.
Okay.
Molly
Oh.
Eliz underscore says, I want to see a lantern festival one day.
Are we talking an Asian lantern festival? One where we release all the ones into the sky, or are we talking the one putting them in water?
Molly Eliz underscore says, release in the sky.
They don't do that at Disney, like at the Chinese New Year's or whatever? I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Molly Eliz underscore says, I'm not sure, maybe they do.
They probably do it like in Chinatown or something. Like in San Francisco or Los Angeles, I guess. Or maybe even San Diego. I don't know if San Diego has a big Chinese district. Go to Disney, man. I could probably go to Disney. When I'm better. I can't travel now. I was thinking of driving to Maryland in September. Maybe I'll just continue down and go to Disney. That's a good idea, though.
Molly Eliz underscore says, I loved the Jungle Book and Aristocats as a kid.
Jungle Book. Aristocats was the one with the mice, right? Or am I thinking?
Molly Eliz underscore says,
No, I'm thinking the. Oh, I'm thinking the other one. That was the one with the cats.
Molly Eliz underscore
Yeah, the three
says,
kittens.
it's the 3 kittens.
Yeah. a Disney movie I loved as a kid. You know, I liked watching DuckTales. That was always good. I liked Lady and the Tramp.
Molly Eliz underscore says, I don't know if I ever watched that.
Moana was great.
Molly Eliz underscore says, Lady and the Tramp was good.
I don't like Disney's changing things to be more acceptable. And I guess that comes from an artist perspective or a writer. Like, I look at like when somebody wrote
Molly
something.
Eliz underscore says, I haven't been watching their new stuff lately.
Yeah, neither have I. I like, as a writer, the way somebody spoke 200 years ago shouldn't be edited today to be acceptable. They wrote about something that they spoke the way they were 200 years ago. Leave it alone. Don't change it to try to make it politically correct for today. That's BS. To me, that drives me nuts.
Molly Eliz underscore says, yeah, just make something new for today.
Just because somebody used certain language 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, nobody gives a crap today. If it bugs you today, then you're the one with the problem. I'm sorry you don't like reading Shakespeare. Too bad. Suck it up. Hell, there's a lot of Shakespeare I can't stand reading, but I still read it. It's called Suck It Up. It's the way they wrote. You know what I mean? It drives me nuts. Like Mark Twain would have been another one. Just because of the way he referred to Jim. You know, Jim was a slave back then. They referred to them as certain terminology. That's the way it was. Don't erase it. Because that's what history
Molly
was.
Eliz underscore says, and if it was racist like, why erase what those people went through back then and pretend it didn't happen?
Exactly, right? And there's that. There's that train of thought too, right? Like, to me, all you're doing is erasing history or historical things so nobody knows. So your little crybaby who learns to scream and cry about everything till they get their freaking way doesn't know any different. Well, your little crybaby, when he gets to high school, is going to get his butt kicked. But he doesn't know. Just the way it is. It's like, come on. You know, we don't need to erase stuff. And we have months for everything, for heritage, for reasons, right? Like this month is AAPI month, right? It's Asian Pacific Islander month. Or American Asian, I guess is AA, whatever. It's Asian Heritage Month, right? So most events should be, that you see, should be something Asian. There should be some kind of Asian flair or Asian promotion or whatever. I don't even know where I was going. Oh, I know. I filled out a thing on Twitch. You know, because they said something about, you know, are you part of these groups? And I was like, all right, let me fill out this survey. And like, yeah, I'm part of these groups. You know, but at the same time, you know, it's supposed to be like, oh, well, Twitch is supposed to reach out to you, and you know, you're supposed to whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's BS. You know, I'm not a partner, so that's not gonna happen. You know, it's kind of like you put things in place, but it's only benefiting, you know, certain aspects. And like, you know, Twitch is funny too. I mean, even streaming in general is funny because it only benefits those who are part of the cliques. It's very clicky in my opinion. You know, there's a lot of things I like and dislike about it. A lot of things you know, in a perfect world it would be better, but it's never going to be. But that being said, you know, I'm proud of what people have accomplished, or proud of where people have gone on this platform, you know, and how they got there. You know, a lot of people put in a lot of hard work, and I'm proud of those people. You know, they did great. Kind of funny because I was like, obviously when I decide, you know, I'm gonna go back to work and I'm gonna do things and, you know, start changing things up, I'm not gonna be, obviously might not be streaming 6 hours a night, might only be 4 hours a night kind of thing, you know, which is fine by me. May not be fine for my audience. I don't know, audience. What do you guys like? You tell me. Business suit coat? Sure, I'll buy it. Why not? Oh, 1960. Ah, alright. What? I said yes. You're lucky I made of money there, bastard. Business suit coat. Let me check that out. Is that purple? That's some... Oh, I guess it's purple. Nice! Alright, I'll take purple. Let's go put on a new outfit for later. Yeah, if it was racist, like why erase it? That one I don't understand, but that happens all over the place. Usually we don't want to see that there's anything negative in the past, but man, our whole past is built on negative. And that's why you gotta have it there, that way you learn not to do it again. The whole point about history. Learn from your mistakes. Don't do it again. I caught the boot. I caught a boot. My loot in a boot. Quiet. I keep getting these status access violations when I try to go to certain channels. It won't let me go see these people's channels. I don't know why it's doing that.
Master, we have a visitor.
Thank you for the follow, Red Diamond. Wait. Red Diamond Drago. Diamond Drago. You know. Oh, whatever. How are you? Welcome in. It's kind of funny. Like who was it? Oh, Sassy Penny does this thing where you thank the follower and you say, you know, you can stay, talk, whatever. I'm not gonna pull you out of lurk, but you know, lurks are appreciated. Whichever you'd like to do. If you'd like to talk, if you'd like to not, or just say hello. You can do whatever you'd like. Thank you for the follow. Kind of cute. How was the ice cream? Man, you got me thinking God, I want ice cream now.
Molly Eliz _ says, ha ha ha, it was good.
I know why I'm not eating ice cream now.
Molly Eliz _ says, sorry skipping to phone so I can know that.
You know how many times I hear people telling me that, like taking me to bed? Sorry, bad joke. I know why I'm not having ice cream now, or key lime pie for that matter, because I have a blood test tomorrow that I don't want to overly spike my sugar, because it's gonna mess up my chemo results for my chemo medicine based on my blood work. So I don't want to have. That's why I'm not having ice cream and cake right now, or pie right now. I'm kind of taking fasting. Of course, I will have a breakfast sandwich tomorrow. Or
Molly Eliz _ says, but in a few days you can have it.
No, I can have it tomorrow. Tomorrow night after my blood work. I just can't have it before my blood work and elevate my sugar levels to this extreme. Oh, he's got a problem, you know, like he's got his diabetes acting up kind of thing, you know, blood sugar's off, you know, because your chemo medicine is basically built on your blood work. So if your blood work shows elevated this, they reduce certain things so it counteracts. But then when you go and you don't have all of that, then it's like it's all whacked out, right? So if you want it to work, you know, give accurate results, right? Because say for example, I have too much iron or something wrong with the liver or something, you know, kidneys, it shows up in a test, and then they give you your medicines based off of that. So it's kind of made specifically for you every time, you know, you go in. That way your medicine is made to work for your blood stuff. I can have it tomorrow. I will actually buy a new key lime pie tomorrow at the grocery store. Throw that sucker right in the freezer. It's already frozen anyway. I can't have it now. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do? I probably didn't take my medicine. Today, Thursday? Yep. Darn it. Almost didn't catch that fish either. Damn it. heard that. I missed it. Wait a minute, did you just say you switched to your phone so you could so you can lay down, and then basically you're taking me to bed so you can listen to my boring butt and fall asleep? Did I catch that right? He thinks of me as boring, chat. That monotone voice you got, Gigi. If you'd read a book, people would go to sleep by the end of page 1.
Molly Eliz _ says, haha no, it's cause I have a hard time falling asleep without laying down for a while, so I need to lay down now so I can fall asleep by a decent time.
Yeah, nice save there. I see what you did. Let me think of any excuse.
Molly Eliz _ says, it's true.
I'm only playing, relax. Just teasing you. Not often I get to sit and talk with people. Real people. Like Pinocchio says, I just want to be a real boy. Well, we didn't see the scorpion tonight, which was good, because the other night I actually rounded a corner and walked right into that sucker. And ended up getting oofed. And oh my god. And I just reset that timer again. Ah. What are we gonna do, Captain? It's just gonna be me and you for the next year. Oh yeah, when the Switch comes out, it's gonna be me and you forever, buddy. Which is kind of crazy because I'm looking forward to a new system, but there's not really anything I'm looking forward to playing as of yet on said new system. Come on. Oh wow, I let that get really deep. If that makes any sense. Rain hat? Oh, except it's green. Why don't you just give me a regular yellow sou'wester, man? Look like a Boston fisherman. like I told you, she's bored and sleeping. See? Easy. He does it every time. I have a way
Molly
with the...
Elis underscore says, hi.
Hi. Said I had a way with the ladies. So put them all to sleep.
Molly Elis underscore says, I'm awake.
Oh, I know.
Molly Elis underscore says, just thinking.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now we got trouble. That'll get you in trouble. Alright, so what do you want to know? What are you thinking
Molly
about me?
Elis underscore says, ha ha ha.
What are you thinking about me? What do you want to know? Go ahead and ask.
Molly Elis underscore says, no, I'm just thinking about my last few years. Molly Elis underscore says, and how much has changed?
So is that a good thinking or is that a bad thinking? Are you dwelling on something or are you like pros and cons of...
Molly Elis underscore says, it's good.
Alright, I'm just double checking.
Molly Elis underscore says, I'm just happy with myself.
Oh, you did a great job with yourself. Alright, so let's look at that new business code. It was purple. Look at that. I do like this yellow parka. But I want to go back to that look I had the other night. Dope. It was...
Molly Elis underscore says, I'm definitely doing a lot better than people expected, haha.
What people?
Molly Elis underscore says, friends and family have made comments here and there.
Like, what kind of comments?
Molly Elis underscore says, saying they expected me to be a little more depressed or crazy maybe.
That's not necessarily a good comment to make, but okay. Now this is the opinion phase.
Molly Elis underscore says, LMAO, they meant it well, worded it terribly.
Yeah, that's probably, I was thinking the same thing. But it's also, you know, those kind of comments too don't necessarily help much of anything. That's some bright. I know I'm not wearing that. Let's go back to this knapsack looking thing. I need to buy some more bags. And we're going back to the Overstar parka. Casual. Yeah, that's better. I like a little more casual. Well, it's been, what, 2 months? Has it been 2 months? Oh, I could probably check my Discord.
Molly Elis underscore says, no. Molly Elis underscore says, April 1st.
Yeah, so it's almost 2 months. It's a month and a half. We're almost at 2 months. You did it on April Fool's Day? Jesus Christ, that's going to be something to remember. You'll think of that as a joke. That you're even there.
Molly
It's kind of cool.
underscore says, ha 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 ha.
Every April Fool's Day, you'll be like, oh, I could tell you.
Underscore says, this one wasn't a joke.
Yeah, but now that you can think about it, you're going to go back on and think about, oh yeah, I can tell you how this was a joke way back in the day. It's kind of a cool lead-in story to talk about. like I'm very, oh yeah, dates. I'm like a hopeless romantic. Dates for me are detrimental. I remember all kinds of things, and then things tie into dates, and it screws my head up. But yeah, no, that's cool. Month and a half, and
Molly
you're doing.
Eliz underscore says, all of the times we broke up and got back together, and then the time it's real is on April Fool's skull skull.
But you're always gonna remember that, and it's kind of cool. Because people be, but either way, obviously, things were worded incorrectly, but yeah, it's been a month and a half. You're going on almost 2 months. It did help to have a break, a vacation, to be able to get away. So you got to go away for, San Diego for a week. You got to focus back on being back into work. Like I need to get back into. Oh yeah, we got to definitely get back into work. These flappy arms. So in a month and a half, you're in a good headspace. You're getting better. You're not 100%, but you're definitely on the right track. You're doing well. So you're gonna have to explain. People think you were crazy, but that's not just all women kind of reaction kind of thing. But see, then they probably don't know too that you've been going through this in your head for a year. Really? You gonna jump? Oh, you know what? I can sell these pumpkins real quick. Make some money. That's what I should do. Because basically you've been tossing it back and forth for a year. So it's not like a month and a half. It's been quite a bit of time has passed.
Molly Eliz underscore says, longer than that even.
Right, but you also talked about working it out and trying. You had options.
Molly Eliz underscore says, I refuse to regret the time spent debating it though. BC now I feel sure of my decision and I think that has made it easier on me.
I refuse to regret the time spent debating it though, because now I feel sure of my decision. When you mean when you were debating it for pro? You mean? Not following that. Debating with who? Like debating it with yourself, like you were like for fixing it kind of deal?
Molly Eliz underscore says, yeah, when I knew I felt like I should leave him, but I could convince myself to.
Oh, you couldn't convince yourself to. Yeah. Yeah, and don't dwell on that. Don't dwell on what could have, should have, would have. Don't beat yourself up over things that could have happened sooner or later.
Molly Eliz underscore says, part of me always wanted to try to fix it instead of giving up, and now I was able to walk knowing I am so sure of the situation, and for me that's actually better.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Molly Eliz underscore says, it's a lot easier for me to never think of it again.
Yeah. I can concur. And since you're no longer hiding it or sugarcoating it, you see things that when certain things happen or actions, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that, you were protecting that or hiding that. And So you've learned from it, right? Which is a good thing. But anyhow, moving on. You're laying down, going to sleep.
Molly Eliz _ says, I think my brain blocked out a lot of what I did too. That's been the worst part this last month. Random bad memories suddenly surface EBC. Molly Eliz _ says, surfacing asterisk.
Yeah. And that might happen for a while too, but at least you can look back at it and say, yeah, now you see it and you're past it, right? Like you'll get a bad memory and be like, oh God, I can't believe that happened, and you'll just, blow it off and move on. And don't beat yourself up over the trying to help or trying to make somebody better. Those are good qualities. You didn't do the wrong thing.
Eliz _ says, I expected to really have a hard time trusting my judgment again, too, but it hasn't been an issue.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with that one. Tell you the truth, because you don't have key lime pie in the house.
Molly Eliz _ says, I'm definitely more aware of early warning signs.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust your judgment at all. You don't have key lime pie in the house. No. We have to think about that one.
Molly Eliz _ says, tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy, ha ha ha, I have sushi though.
That's not the same. I'm gonna have sushi this weekend, I think. I might. Of course, it sucks. I can't eat enough to. I should order. I should order.
Molly Eliz _ says, it's lobster sushi wrapped in salmon.
Lobster sushi wrapped in salmon. Well, that's good. I always get salmon. I think the one I get, it's like a rice ball. It's got crab meat, avocado, some kind of sauce, salmon on top, sesame seeds, a sauce, and it is the tastiest thing ever, man. And it's all about the sauce and the salmon.
Molly Eliz _ says, I love spicy mayo on sushi.
Yeah. I knew that. I have to be careful with certain spices. Like, I don't know what's upsetting my stomach at times, so I don't know if it's spice or I don't know if it's a seasoning or... So I'm kind of still in that phase of trying to make sure I don't get something that, sets me off. Now that I have new plumbing, right? That's been probably the hardest part. Like, you didn't need the bean burrito with all that extra mild sauce or hot sauce, because that really screwed you up. When normally it was like, oh, that does nothing to me. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, can't eat that. Yeah, that's been different. There's been some things that set me off. Like, you have to be careful when you don't have Like you don't have a
Molly Elis underscore says, so no Taco Bell.
no, I can have Taco Bell. It's just, it depends on like right now going through chemo treatment, I have to be cognitive. I don't have a sphincter at the top anymore, right? So things that cause extra gas or whatever, they or things that have might be too sugary, or certain things set me off, and it's like, oh, you don't want to have too much sugar, because you have what they call dumping, right? And it's just where your system just flushes out anything. So like sugary snacks, like if I ate this whole bag of sugar treats, I'd be in trouble. And it depends on where I am in the chemo cycle too, right? Like, because if I'm on the chemo medication, a little sugar is not going to hurt me. If I'm off the chemo medicine, it hurts me like crazy. You know, it just depends on where I am and what I'm doing. So like a can of beans, bad news. You know, certain times of the week. It really depends on where you are, right? Because gas is bad too, because it's just, well, you know, when you can't control certain things, gas only has an outlet, but you don't know what it's actually doing, right? So like with the dumping, it's very dangerous, right? Like it's and dumping is a horrible sensation. So you have to be cognitive of it. Of course, that's not to say that I don't eat things that I'm not supposed to. It's like, you know, all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, I drank that entire pop, or you know, I did this and now I've got to be careful. I can't go here, can't go do that. But when you're on certain medications, you know, it does a different effect. Like when you're on the chemo medication, it's basically like it creates, I guess, a little bit of constipation for a couple days. And then as soon as you come off of it, you do not want to add more things that make you loose, because you're already going to become that, you know, and then you don't want to. So it's kind of one of those, you have to, you know, you have to be careful. Kind of, so to speak. It's kind of been like a science project, you know, like, oh yeah, don't eat this on this day. You can have that on Tuesdays. You can't have that on Thursdays. And definitely don't have it on a Saturday. You know, that kind of thing, right? 'Cause otherwise, I'd eat rice and beans every day and not care, you know. Certain starches, certain whatever, but certain things I just can't do. I have to be a little more aware. And it was the same way when I was a diabetic, you know, because you keep track of your foods and stuff. It's like you gotta, you know, like you gotta cut out the red meat, eat more chicken, you know. Can't have salad because roughage is bad, you know, because of the effect of what it does on your body. You know, it's kind of like you just have to be cognitive, right? Like I can eat Taco Bell all day long, every day. It's just, you know, don't add the 10 packs of hot sauce that I normally add on certain days of the week. You know, that kind of thing. Like, and it was funny too, like the other day, you know, sometimes too, you have to be, like, like I had Popeye's chicken the other day. You know, mashed potatoes gravy was fine, but there was some spice in the chicken or in the grease that did not sit well. It was like, oh crap. But it was also, I came off the medication. I was like, yeah, I probably don't taste that right. Like, you gotta be careful. We now have Popeyes. I was like, yeah, baby. We have Popeyes. Of course, we have a Denny's too, but it's not so great. It's like, whatever. That's why, like, for me, like, moving to the States would be like cool, because I want the food. No Taco Bell. I gotta stop eating Taco Bell. Or Mexican for that matter. Jesus. Like, no, I'll find a way to get it in. That'd be like you having no key lime pie for a year. I mean, you'd find a way to eat it anyway. Come on now. That almost hurt me to think about that no Taco Bell. She must be out of her mind. I caught a frog. Yeah, like this weekend, I'm gonna try to actually get back to drawing something. I've got ideas. I don't know how to. Gotta just do it. Maybe I had to play some Stardew. I haven't played Stardew. Can't remember who I was even trying to marry last time. I think I married Penny. So I've married Abigail and Penny, so that means I gotta start over and marry Marley. I don't know what it is with that game. I can't keep Seb off of me. That guy won't leave me alone. No matter what I do, he's always on me. We should just marry Seb and get it over with. What's up with all the cans tonight? I'm trying to catch cans. Oh man, that's my cue. What? Is that time right? Oh boy, I should be going to bed. I don't know what I'm doing here. I gotta get up. Alright, since everybody's already sleeping, let's call it a night. Wow, it's late. What am I doing? Oh, it's probably that pulled pork burrito bowl that messing me up. It was good. I gotta buy like 10 of those. Those are good. Otherwise I'd sit here and fish for another 5 hours. Jesus Christ. You're really gonna turn around on me? Wait. Oh, this is buying stuff I already have. I'm gonna run down here and buy the clothes. All right. All right. Well, everybody, have a good night, and don't forget to eat something good. And thank you for watching. Hope you had fun. Blah blah blah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all those fun things. We'll be back at it again tomorrow night. I don't know what we're having for supper, but we'll be here. So sleep well. Why do I have to pee right there? Molly's probably already asleep, so we'll leave quietly. I'm kidding. All right. Everybody have a good night. Sleep well. We'll see everybody again tomorrow. All that fun jazz. Talk to you later. Eat something good.